alive and in living color. Oh, I guess that's years ago, where everything's colored these days. So, welcome to it for anyone and everyone that's joining in. Thank you very much for tuning in. And it's another week of Let's Talk E-Bikes. And for a while there, I didn't think I was going to get here on time. I was out riding, and the traffic was so bad coming back. My friend Keith and I went out to Vancouver, Washington, and we went to somewhere called Burnt Bridge Creek Greenway Trail. It's just an 8.2 mile trail, not overly long or anything, but a really nice trail. My first time being there. I think Keith was there once before. Welcome in. We got Harry, we got Coco, we've got Bullfrog. So yeah, I was just out there and the traffic was just atrocious getting back. It took us an hour and a half to come the distance that normally takes about half an hour. So it was crazy. So here we are with another week of e-bikes, and not a lot going on again. It's kind of like blah lately, but there are a few things that have happened. The big one to me was the Electric announcing their new, recently the new trike. The trike. Now, I don't know how many of you out there are into trikes, but I think it's a cool thing. If that's what it takes to get somebody out on a bike due to balancing issues or whatever, that's perfectly fine. And the Electric XP trike, there's the 2 and then there's the 750. I've tried the original Electric XP trike and did a review on it, and that was an interesting bike. I mean, it was $1,499. That's the same as the price of the new one. But the thing for me to get used to was the turning. I am not very good at turning a trike because I want to lean like I do with the two-wheeler, and you don't really lean with the trike. So that was interesting. But they've got the XP Trike 2, and then they've got the 750. And the 750 is only $300 more. And for what you get, I think it's worth the $300 difference. So you get the bigger motor. So the original Trike 2 has a 500 watt motor, whereas the 750, obviously, because of the name, it also that's also the motor size 750, and then it also has 20 newton meters more of torque. So from 65 on the standard Trike 2 to the 85 newton meters. That's a significant amount of difference, I think. And then it also has a larger battery. It goes from a 14 amp hour on the, I think it's a 14 on the Trike 2 to a 17 and a half amp hour. So I definitely take the, okay, I would definitely take the, for $300, the extra bigger motor and everything else. Chuck, how are you doing? So yeah, that was an interesting ride today. It was hot out there. It's 97 degrees right now. At least we got out. We started our ride about 11 o'clock, and so it wasn't too terrible. But it's getting, when we got home there, you could feel the different how hot it was getting. So yeah, that was a fun ride though. There was people on the trail, but not a lot. There was a few joggers and bikes and e-bikes. Not a lot though, but it was pretty good ride. My first time being out there. Keith has been there once before. So what do you guys got going on? I've ridden a recumbent trike once, and if you call the Admotor semi-recumbent trike, if you count that as a recumbent, they do call it a recumbent, then it's 2. But the one that's completely recumbent, right on the ground basically, I've ridden that once. Really nice, a really nice ride. But the only thing that's weird about it is you're so low that I'd be a little worried about anybody seeing me. I know they put flags up and everything, to get so they can be seen. But boy, it's tough when you're that low to the ground. But it was a nice ride, surprisingly. I really liked it. Taking a picture of your bike, yeah. I sometimes want to get my camera out and take pictures of other people's bikes that I see that are awesome. I saw a few bikes today. I saw a Himaway. I saw a Velotrek folding bike. And then I saw some other ones that went by so quickly I couldn't tell what they were. But I'm always trying to look and see what they're riding. I'm always curious as to what everybody else is riding. But just for the fact that people are out there riding e-bikes, it's awesome. And this year, more than ever, I've seen more e-bikes out there this year than any of the other years since I've been riding anyway. And each year, you can tell it's getting a little more and a little more. And so it's definitely a happening thing right now. Let me move my screen here so I can read. So yeah, not a whole lot going on again this week. It's kind of like, I guess, just get out and ride your bike. It's nice summer weather, probably nice weather where you are, and you got to take advantage of it. Especially those who don't want to ride in the crappy weather. And I ride in all weather, but I think I'm going to scale it back this year and try to ride a little bit less in the really bad cold or rainy. And I might do a little more green screen videos. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, you definitely got to take advantage of the nice weather. And if it's too hot during the day, go early or go in the evening. James from Fort Myers, Florida. So there's some big news going to come to the channel here. Big change coming. And I'm not going to say too much yet because I'm going to wait another week or two. But a big change is coming to this channel. And hopefully it's for the good. Should be. But I don't want to scare everybody away either. So we'll have to see the reaction that people get. It should be good. I think it's going to be good. Oh, motorized wheelchair. Well, I'll tell you, some of those mobility scooters that are for disabled people, they're making those really nice. I mean, I've seen several of those that I'm thinking, geez, I could hop on one of those and ride it around, no problem. So if it ever comes a day that we need to use a mobility scooter, at least it's nice to know they got some pretty cool looking scooters. But hopefully we don't get to that situation. I mean, I love my two-wheelers, and I don't want to give up a two-wheeler. As long as I have balance, I'm riding a two-wheeler. Oh yeah, I put up a short video today of my wife riding. She was riding the bike that I took today out, the King Bull Light Rider 2.0 folding bike. So I'm trying to get her into it. You might see her more often on the channel coming up, so that ought to be cool. She no, but I got a story about a Class 1 bike. I'm not going to sell my Lyric Graffiti X. That's basically my pride and joy, that bike. That's my favorite bike. Any bike that I've ever ridden, like I've tried other people's bikes or whatever ones I've ridden, they don't compare. That one's by far my favorite, but it's not a pedal bike. So if you're going to pedal, it's not the one to pedal. But I'll tell you today, I was really impressed with the King Bull. The Light Rider 2.0. So on the trail, the speed limit, I didn't see a sign today on this trail, but usually it's 15 miles per hour. And so I try to keep it at 15. And of course, when you're going down a hill, then it's going to pick up a little bit of speed, but sometimes I'll ride the brake if it's a big hill, but you're going to let it go a little bit. But otherwise, you're going to keep it at 15, right? And so the nice thing about this bike is that pedal assist 2 and gear 7, it's only got 7 gears, some of them have 8, but this one has 7, and I have it in the highest gear. Because some of those other gears, your legs are going to go a million miles an hour so fast pedaling. I want it on the highest one. And it keeps it consistent in pedal assist 2, that Light Rider 2.0. It consistently will be around 14.5 miles per hour. So absolutely perfect for the trail. I'm not speeding or anything, I'm abiding by the speed limit. And it's a good ride. that bike is very impressive. And even going up hills, the bike seems to, you don't have to change the pedal assist level. Like Keith had to change his to, he was riding in pedal assist 2 on his electric XP 3.0, and he would have to change sometimes to 3 or to pedal assist 3 and even 4 to get up some of the hills, whereas I went right up all of them with pedal assist 2. The bike seems to know when you're going up a hill and just gives you that extra boost without changing the assist levels. And so I thought that was great. That bike is very impressive. And I'll tell you, for the money, under $1,000, and that's worth it. And then I have the discount code if anybody was looking for it, $50 off. Oregonebikermark is the code. For under like that much, $949. That's, to me, that's a steal of a bike. It's impressive. A 750 watt motor, 15 amp hour battery, 48 volt. I haven't ridden a puppy yet, but I was looking at one time at the trike. But I didn't go any further than that. I was going to get my wife a trike to ride, but she's going to go with the two-wheeler. She's going to get on the two-wheeler. But she had a fall one time, and so off of the bike, and so she went a long stretch without riding, and that was on the Ride One Up Cafe Cruiser. I think the seat was too high, and so when she would come to a stop, she basically went forward, and so but now she's riding the Light Rider 2.0, which is a step through. And I think the step throughs are the way to go. If you have any issues getting on and off the bike or anything like that, go with the step through. I'm to the point where I want to step through. Although my Lyric Graffiti X, the seat's low enough that I can throw my leg over, but some of the bikes have a pretty high, high seat, and it's hard to get the leg up and over, especially if you have a cargo, some cargo with you, like backpacks or whatever on the bike. Then it makes it even that much harder to get your leg on up and over. Oh, I've seen the 630 before. Their bikes. But the Puppy, they look pretty impressive too. I don't know a lot about them. I mean, I get their emails once in a while, or I'll see their ads come up, when you get the pop-ups. When you get into the e-bikes and you're looking around at e-bikes, then you're forever getting ads or pop-ups, like either email ads or pop-ups about their bikes. I get tons of that, just for the fact that I'm always looking at e-bikes and what's out there and what's going on. And plus I do have subscribed to some of the newsletters because I like to keep up with what's going on. Mooncool. Yeah, somebody tried to sell me a Mooncool. Some guy tried to sell me one that was practically brand new, but he wanted basically the full price that he paid new. And if you do that though, then you don't get to choose the color. I don't remember what color he had, but it was just a like black or white or one of the standard colors that you always get. So you're kind of tied into that color. Maybe you want to switch it up and get a different color. I like getting different colors now if I can, just to change it up, because everything is black or white. But it depends on the bike for me. Like the Graffiti X, I definitely wanted that one in black. To me, the black looked the best. But some other bikes, like the Light Rider 2.0, that purple is pretty impressive looking. It's different. You don't see many people with purple bikes, so I thought, yeah, that's different. And my wife likes the purple, so that's why we went with that one. Yeah, Bruce Eclectic. Yeah, does he have the trike? I think he has the trike, too. I forget. All their bikes are named after dogs, which I think is really cool. I think the trike is the Husky, if I'm not mistaken. Frank, hello. Benny, hello. Oh, Benny Bianco. I think you were one of my first subscribers. Like, that was a long time ago. I remember your name. I think you were one of my first subscribers, like way back. The channel's now just past 3 years old. So we've been doing this. This is episode 6, by the way, of Let's Talk E-Bikes Live. And so it just started out as a 5-minute test. And then I ended up being on for 2 hours. So here we are for episode 6. I'm going to fix, in the future, you're going to see a different background and stuff. Um, but this is okay now. As long as we're on, it looks pretty good, the picture. And so it'll work for now. But I'm hoping to improve it, make it look a little better. Yeah, it's funny for me, the bike color depends on the bike. I don't know, some bikes just a certain color appeals to me more than others. And like I say, the Graffiti X, the black, definitely was appealing. Sometimes you don't even get a choice of color. I know when I bought my graffiti or um, Aerial Rider Grizzly, the only color available at the time I bought that was red. Then they came out with the blue and the yellow. So they gave it a little more variety of choice. And now electric, we were just talking about the trike a bit ago. They also have like 6 different colors, I think, or even more than that. So lots of variety of colors now to choose from, which is good. Everybody doesn't want the same couple of colors that you give a choice of. Maybe, expand that a little bit and give us some more choices of color. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a fun ride. This whole YouTube thing for the past 3 years. I've been pretty passionate about it, and I don't know. You just keep on going, and you just get into it, and it just becomes a really cool community. To share e-bike stories and rides and all that good stuff. And we got good people on the channel that are always chiming in. And I always like to read the comments if I have time to do it, which I can say right now, officially, as of last week, I am now retired. So I'm going to have more time to mess around with the YouTube now. So yeah, that's good. Oh, wow. The RCR. Yeah, I've never ridden an RCR, but my brother has one. And so he's in Thunder Bay, Canada. And I want to try that. He's got one of the original ones just before they went bankrupt. And luckily he got his bike though. It was a little dicey there at the end because getting it to Canada was a little trickier than if you're in the US here. So, but he got his bike. So. Vardan, how's it going? Vardan is also a longtime viewer of this channel and supporter. So it's cool to see some of the guys that have been around a long time, almost as long probably as the station. So that's pretty cool. It's a channel. So the Onyx RCR. I almost bought a City 2 way back. I shouldn't say way back, a couple of years ago. But before I bought the original Graffiti, I was looking at the City 2. Actually, not before I bought that one. It was before I bought the Graffiti X. And Lyric told me that they saw one of my videos or something where I said I'm looking at the City 2, and they reached out to me in an email and told me, hey, hang on, we're building a bike that's going to be competing with that City 2, the Onyx City 2. And so I held off a little bit, and lo and behold, I bought the bike they were talking about. That was the Graffiti X. And I'm glad I did, because the City 2 now is no longer, for one thing. It's too bad, really, that the City 2, they couldn't have kept that going, or maybe changed it a little bit. It was a little clunky looking, but I think that bike had potential for sure. So it was a kind of a scaled down Onyx RCR. And so it was only 60 volt as opposed to 72. And I can't remember what the motor was, but it's a little bit smaller motor. I think the top speed was 45, between 45 and 50, I think people were getting for top speed, so not bad. Pretty comparable, like they said, to the Graffiti X. But I just like the Graffiti X, the looks of it. When I first saw the Graffiti X, when they were building that and they were having the, working with the prototype and all that, I saw the pictures and I thought, wow, I like that bike a lot. And so I ended up buying it eventually. But looks don't mean everything for a bike, but let's face it, we all want a bike that looks good too, right? Like it can perform well, but that last little topping, I guess, is the performance, and then what does it look like? You want something that looks good too. You want it all to be good, I guess, if you can. Sometimes you can't have it all, but the Lyric Graffiti X is pretty close. I just wish the one that I got, the original, I had a little more oomph off the start. I guess I could monkey with it with the app, but I think that voids the warranty, which is still going until end of October. So there's something else I wanted to bring up. So we were talking, Chuck was joking there about the Class 1. But there is a Class 1 out that's kind of intriguing. I'm not a Class 1 e-bike fan. I don't like class levels at all, for one. And a lot of you probably know that. But I like this bike here. One feature that it has, it's the new Aventon Adventure M e-bike. It says Limitless Exploration. And what I like about it, it's got something new. So it's a Class 1. But it's got an electronic shifter with auto shift technology. I just wonder what that would be like. I think that'd be pretty cool to try. I'd like to try that bike. It's expensive though. It's $2,899. And so that's new. If you want an extra battery, it's $499 for the extra battery. But I like that. I like that idea of auto shifter. Just like to give that one a try and see. That'd be pretty cool. But I don't think I'd want to spend, I know for a fact I wouldn't want to spend $2,899 for a Class 1 bike. I want a throttle on my bike for sure. 100%. Dan, thank you for making it to this one. Awesome. But yeah, does anybody out there like a Class 1? Would you ever buy a Class 1 bike? I would never do it. I at least would want a Class 2. Like I'd at least want a throttle. 100%. Keith and I were talking today too about range, about e-bike range. Wouldn't it be nice to have a bike that could go 100 miles? But when you think about it, okay, if the bike can go 100 miles, I mean at a good speed, not worried about being in pedal assist 1 to get 100 miles, but I'm talking going 30 miles an hour or 35 miles an hour and be able to go 100 miles. But the thing about that is, if you rode that far, especially on a pretty warm day like today was up there, it's, approaching 100 degrees here. How hot would your motor and everything get, and how hot would the battery get, and the controller and all that? Like everything's going to get hot, right? And so, can you ride 100 miles without the motor overheating? I don't know. And if it overheats, it's going to shut off on you, right? And then you have to reset it. And I don't know. But I'd still like to have a bike that can go that far. I think that'd be outstanding. Class 4. I want to dump the classes. I really want to dump the classes and just have a speed limit. Like let's just go 30 or 35 miles an hour and call it a day. I think class levels are confusing for people. And the other thing I don't like is the limiting of the motor, saying, okay, you can only have 750 watts. Here in Oregon, it's 1,000. What does it matter about the motor power? I think it matters about everybody's worried and concerned about speed. Because if you're carrying extra cargo or you're a heavier rider, you need the extra power, right? To be able to get up hills and stuff. So I say don't worry about the power of the motor. Worry about the speed limit, and maybe put a limit of 35. I'd rather do that and scrap class levels altogether. And even if your bike is capable of going 50, just put a speed limit. And if the road only, if you can only ride 35 on a particular road because of the speed limit that the road has set, then you ride at that speed. That's what I would definitely eliminate the classes. And then it wouldn't matter now when somebody sells to a particular state, make it right across the country, like everywhere, whatever the speed you come up with. And then just get rid of that class levels, because then you don't have to worry, right? Okay, that state you can only have a class 2. This one you can have class 3, but no throttle. It's all bogus to me. Like, let's get rid of that throttle rule. Having no throttle on a class 3, but yet you can go 28. That's silly. And I mean, even today, out riding on that trail, we were riding 15 miles an hour, but there was traditional racing bikes going by, and they were going quicker than us. They were coming the opposite direction, but you could tell they were flying by. It's like they're racing on that track, like on a racetrack, and it's the trail that they're on, a shared pedestrian bike trail. Parakeets and 2 snoring pugs, or 1 is snoring, and you'll hear the clock chime in just a minute. Every 15 minutes, the clock will chime too. I've not tried a Saran or Talaria. I haven't tried any of those dirt style e-bikes. I'd like to have one if I had a place to ride. But majority of my riding would be on the road or trails. My favorite is trails. If I had trails to ride on, I really like the trails. You can't ride as fast though. So, I mean, once in a while you want to get out on the road and go a little bit faster, but I like the trails. It's a fun ride, and it's also usually pretty nice, scenic and shaded. I like that. And there was no Karen on this. There was no Karens on this trail. They were all good people. There was a little sketchy. In one area particularly, there was like some homeless camp. There were several tents set up, but we got through that. They were far enough off the path that we were okay. There was a few that were close though, but yeah, we got through that. So hopefully everyone's having a good middle of July weekend here. It's hard to believe the summer is going to be over before we know it here. Here we are about to approach the back half of July. That's crazy. There's a E-Rider. Hello. There's one other thing I wanted to bring up. So I wrote a couple of notes here. I don't have any script or anything. We just talk about whatever. Usually e-bikes, but sometimes it'll drift off into something else. But I did write one more thing down, or save this one site here. I wanted to talk a bit about this. And it's a bike. It's a mountain bike. And this bike is really cool, but it's very expensive. It has get this, it has a range of 300 miles. And the bike has 190 Newton meters of torque. So if you want to check this one out, it's the Optibike, the R22ET Everest, 300-mile adventure e-bike, the only e-bike able to climb Mount Everest on a single charge if there was a road. It's a torque sensor, dual crown downhill suspension. Let's see. So that 300-mile range, they're saying, is for a 160-pound rider. Most of us are probably above 160. I'm not much over 160 right now, but 170. And at 15 miles per hour, pedaling. So that's how they say you get your 300 miles. But you want to hear the price though? $18,900. So I think I'll pass on that one. It's designed and hand built in Colorado, and they hand build them to order. I don't know how many they sell though. So they have two versions. They have the EU version, which is only 250 watts and 15.5 mph top speed. And then they have the off-road, US off-road version, which is the version I would definitely choose. 1700 watts and has a 36 mph speed limit. And so I'm assuming that the $18,900 is probably the off-road one that goes a lot faster and has a larger motor. But boy, that's a lot of money. You could buy a full-blown top of the line, or maybe even two almost. For sure one though, electric motorcycle for that much. But that's crazy. Have I heard of S-straps? Is that how you pronounce it? No, that's usually you come up with some good bikes, so let me go check that one out. E-straps. Okay, E-straps is the problem. Whoa, that reminds me a lot of the, that looks like the Javelin a lot. Do you agree? The Spark Javelin. Spark Cycles. Oh, these look pretty cool. I've never heard of these. Oh, they were at the Electrify Expo. I'd love to go to one of those expos. One to 2 weeks delivery. They're LA based. That's cool. Oh, these are pretty nice. Yeah. I don't know which one I pick. I like that lightning one. Yeah, those are pretty cool. I've never seen those before. Plenty of beer money. Spike, hello. Beer money left over. This is a good day to have a wobbly pop, wouldn't it be? I got coffee right now, but it's pretty warm out there, so it's a good wobbly pop day. Yeah, I'll have to check that out again a little bit later. They look pretty nice. So, yeah, the lightning one looked good. They remind me a lot. What do you think? Do they compare to the Javelin? Do they look a bit like that Javelin? That's what I was thinking right away. There was another bike. Do you remember the bike, the Huck? It used to be out there. I saw one of those in person. I was talking to the guy about it, and I asked him what he thought of his bike, and he said he loved it. He already had it for several years. He was one of the original buyers of one of those. I think it was the what is it, the Stinger? Pretty cool. Oh, I think the female pug is definitely snoring at a high pitch. I can hear her. So excuse that noise. If your friends jump into the fire, you're going to follow. Yeah, what's going on with the, there's a lot of crackdowns going on, or potential crackdowns going on. And they're talking about how many kids are getting hurt on the bikes. I think the parents are buying the kids the bikes and probably don't even know how powerful some of these bikes are, you know? And maybe the parents have to be responsible. uh, buying their kids a bike like that, they better know what they're getting into. And when we were younger, we had something called a pedal bike with no motor. So you have to advance your way up to a motorbike, as you get older and get used to riding your pedal bike first. I mean, I see kids, around here. I've seen some kids that look like no more than 11 or 12 years old riding Sarans, and they can't even touch. Their feet don't even look like they're touching the ground. Crying out loud, like how do you have control of the bike when your feet don't even hit the ground at all? Nothing. But yeah, yeah, I had the old banana seat coaster bikes, the coaster brakes. Remember those? And those were a lot of fun though. And then they had do you remember the Stingray, the chopper, and it had a gear stick, 3-speed shift. Those were really cool. They were orange, at least the ones in Canada. They were orange and they had a smaller wheel on the front, like a 16-inch wheel, or maybe it was even smaller than that, and like a 20-inch wheel on the back. Those were, you envied any of the kids on the street that had one of those. You wanted to, you badly wanted one yourself when you saw those. At least I did. Stingray apple crate. Banana seats with sissy bar. Yep. And who didn't jump a ramp or two in their time? I did. Some kids got really brave, and they would jump shopping carts. I wasn't that crazy, but I jumped ramps, little smaller ramps. I had 10 speeds. 10 speeds. They had the narrowest wheels, right? Like it almost seemed like an inch, maybe. They were probably a little more than an inch, but that's what they seemed like, very thin. And I even had one of my bikes actually stolen too. But I've not had my e-bike stolen. I keep them all in the house. I my brother one time had just a regular pedal bike, like a banana seat, bike, and he was jumping over a curb, and the bike cracked right in half. The frame split right in half. So I wonder if that bike at one time was welded or something, because why would the bike frame just snap in half? So the front went, over here, and the back went there. He didn't get hurt, but that's crazy to see your bike basically just snap right in half. The last pedal bike I owned was probably 30 years ago, and it was or maybe a little bit less than 30 years ago. Between 20, no, it's got to be more than 25. It's got to be close to 30. And it was a CCM mountain bike. And I bought it at a store called Canadian Tire, if anybody's familiar with that. I think I paid at the time, and this is probably a pretty good bike then, looking back, because I paid, I think, around $200. So $200 for a bike 30 years ago was probably a pretty nice bike, actually. I didn't think about it at the time, but looking back now, like thinking about it now, and from that era, $200 bike, that must have been half decent. I think it had a lot of gears. It had, like, how they had like 18 speed or something. Six, 76 to 79. So this bike would have been not that old. I learned how to ride my first bike. I was 8 years old, I think, when I first rode 8 or 9. So that would have been like early mid 70s, 73, 74, 75 in there, 8, 9, 10. And, but the bike I had, let's see, that would have been, I'm getting a phone call in the middle of this. There we go. Put a stop to that. But, no, I can't remember what I was talking about, that bike. Anyway, oh, that company. Stop already. Somebody, who's trying to call me? Ghostbuster. Anyway, now I lost my train of thought with that phone call. Yeah, I learned back in, like in Toronto, in the laneway, Schwinn 3-speed. Schwinn's even still around today. They were and are still a pretty popular bike, right? But I learned how to ride in a laneway in Toronto. My parents would just hold the back of the bike, and let you kind of go along, and they just kind of let it go. And I don't think you realize at the time that they're letting it go, letting their hand off the bike, and you're going on your own. Then you're riding along, and then all of a sudden you're looking back and saying, oh, they're over there, so I am riding on my own. So it didn't take very long to learn how to ride the bike. I think only a couple of times they would hold the bike, and then away you go, and you pretty much have it. And then we rode all over the place in Toronto on my little bike, pedal bike at that age, like 8, 9 years old. You wouldn't trust allowing your kid to ride all over the place in a big city like that today, but back then it was fine. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome to collect pedal bikes. One thing that used to happen though, like the streetcar tracks, I used to a few times I have to be careful of the tracks because your bike wheel would get caught in the tracks. But with these fat tires now and these electric bikes that we have, the 4-inch fat tires, they're not going to get caught in any track. Nice and wide. Boy, Super 73. Does anybody own a Super 73 here that's in this chat? I mean, I like their bikes. I almost bought one time. I've told this story before. Before I bought the original graffiti, I was looking at Super 73s. I had the Grizzly, and I wanted to get another bike like that, like the Grizzly. And I was really looking at, and I wanted it kind of as a backup bike. If something went wrong with the Grizzly, I have another one I could keep riding. And I was seriously looking at, I went over to a motorcycle shop that sold Super 73s, Beaverton Motorcycles they're called. And I was looking at their Super 73. It was near closing time for the store, so I didn't go and do a test ride. But I looked at the bike and sat on it. It was the Mojave, and I was checking it out and all that. But they were expensive. It was like, at the time, it was $36.99, I think. Or, yeah, I think it was $36.99 at that time. And I thought, gee, for what you get, though, like it only had, top speed was, I don't know if it could even get to 30 miles an hour, maybe. But from what I heard and read, they were kind of weak on hills. But I really liked the look of them, and I liked the, the nice fat tires. They had 4.5 inch on the front, I think, and 5 on the back. And but I never went back. I was tempted to go back and ask to do a test ride, but I didn't do it. And then I ended up pulling the trigger on the Lyric Graffiti. I just liked what the Lyric Graffiti had to offer. It was more voltage. It was 52 volt, and it had a top speed of 36 miles an hour. Or so, which it does do. So my friend Keith, who you've seen on this channel, he recently, he's got my old Grizzly, and he just recently here, like yesterday I think, put a new seat on the bike. So hopefully maybe I can get a little video up showing you his new seat. And I sat on it today. I was over at his place and sat on the bike, and that seat, what a difference it makes, because it still had the original stock seat on there, and the seat's terrible. And but this, It puts you a little bit higher. So if you want a little higher for height of the bike, seat height, it has that, but it also has the ability to sit back. I'm only 5'9". I'm not really tall, but any taller riders, you want the ability to be able to sit back so your legs aren't, bumping up against anything because, they're crunched together there. And the other thing I found too with this little bit higher seat and being able to sit back a little bit more, the handlebars felt like they weren't up so high. As they feel like you're riding ape hangers. They're way up here. But now they feel like they're down lower. I said to him, "Did you change the handlebars in any way? Did you pull them down or something? Because it felt different." He said, "No, it must be just that seat." It's funny how just the seat can make you completely different feel, right? For how you position on the bike and everything, how you feel sitting on there. It makes a big difference. So that was pretty impressive, the new seat. We'll have to get a video up and show you the new seat he bought. And he said he bought it, I think, off eBay. Some people make these seats. And he only paid, I believe it was only $120, which I was surprised. Because a lot of these custom seats are running like $200 to $300, right, to get a nice new seat. But he only paid $120, he said. So good deal. Yeah, the Grizzly is still good. He really likes the Grizzly, so he's still, monkeying with it, and changing seats up and stuff. But I like the Grizzly. The thing I like about it is the ability to climb hills. Like it's got that extra oomph. But it is a little bit loud. The motors are a bit whiny, because it's geared hub motors. And I'm not a big fan of the handlebars. I don't like the higher up handlebars. I like them a little lower, but you can change the handlebars out. But it's a good bike still. But something's up with Aerial Rider. I've tried to email them to ask them what's going on. They won't say nothing, but I think there's a new bike coming. Either they're upgrading the Grizzly again, or there's a brand new model coming. I wouldn't be surprised if either one of those is going to happen sooner than later here. Wow, 41 miles per hour. That's pretty impressive. If you can get a bike, going 40 miles an hour, that's pretty good. There's a lot of times, and Keith and I were talking about this too today, where some of the bikes, like the Onyx there, the new Onyx, right? It'll do 70 plus miles an hour, they're talking about, right? But where are you going to get, where are you going to ride it where you can open it up to 70 miles an hour? Around where I am here, unless you get way out of town, there's no way you could open that up here. There's no way there's anywhere around that you could ride at that speed. So you'd have to get way out somewhere and test that. So 70 miles an hour is way above what you need. I think 40 miles an hour is nice because then you still have that, you can ride like 30 miles an hour, a nice steady 30 miles an hour, and then you have the ability to crank it up to 40 if you need to in certain situations. But I don't know how you would ever need or why you would ever need 70 miles an hour. You're not riding on a freeway or anything with it. I wouldn't want that. I like the bike I have because it'll do top speed 50 and I don't use all that 50 miles an hour. And I think if you do run the bike hard and do like Mr. Central Driver, for example, he rides his bikes hard, right? If you've watched any of his videos. I mean, I like watching his videos, but he's awful hard on the bikes. And I'm wondering, if you ride constantly that speed, I don't think your bike's going to have a long life. I think you're going to have problems with it because you're going to, I think the heating of the motor all the time getting that hot and everything is going to cause issues. And I just don't like to ride full tilt all the time. I mean, there may be once in a while that you might pin it for a second or two or a minute or something, but I wouldn't want to ride all the time. I would want to get a bike that goes faster, that can be, you can ride it at a slower speed to be more efficient than having the bike have to work to its maximum all the time. So I'd rather have, like, if he's going to ride like 50 miles an hour all the time, I'd probably go for something that can do 60. Maybe the Onyx is good for him, and then just cut it back a little bit and don't ride. The bike's capable of 70, they say, right, off road, and just ride at 50. Like, I don't know what his top speed that he'd want to go, that he would max out at, or does he just go as whatever fast the bike goes, I think. But anyway, that's the way he rides, which is cool. I mean, I like watching his videos, but I feel sorry for the bike. The bikes are taking a beating with that maximum speed all the time. Yeah, I like that little mini goat bike, but it's a really short bike. But I like what that has to offer. I think it's around $3,000. Yeah, the all-wheel drive is good, but do you always have your all-wheel drive on, or do you just ride the back motor? Because that's what I used to do. I just rode the back, and then I would occasionally, when I need the extra oomph, whether it's going up a hill or accelerating, I need quick acceleration, I would use the front motor to go with it. And what a jolt you get, right? You can feel it kick in when you hit that front motor. You can feel it just power. The power is a surge there. Yeah, I think 25. If I'm out on the road and with like the Graffiti X, like on the in the bike lane, I like to go probably anywhere between 20 and 30. Is probably the good speed. And then on the trail, I like to keep it at 15 more if I can, because that's, you know, a good speed, I think, because you have a lot of other people that are sharing the trail, and um, I think it's only fair to be respectful of everybody else on the trail. But if I'm on a road, especially if I'm on a road where there's no bike lane and I'm going to get right in there and ride with the traffic, then I want to be able to keep up with traffic. And if it's a 35 mile per hour road, then I want to ride 35 miles per hour. Um, because I think it's a lot better to do that than ride on the edge of the road. And in some cases, there's no shoulder even, right? So you're right on the edge of the road. And do you either do that or do you ride right in with traffic? I think it's safer to ride right in with traffic than have cars try to go around you. Yeah, I think my brother's Onyx, he said the top speed, I think, is around 55, I believe. It'll do somewhere between 55 to 60, I think. But he's not a big guy. He's only like 160 pounds, I think. Something like that. Saying all this now, but I'd like the Graffiti X to be 72 volt. I think it's just intriguing. I've not had a 72-volt bike yet, and I think sometime in my lifetime, I want to get one 72-volt bike probably. Um, I just want to at least try one out. I've not even ridden one. Somebody was supposed to go to one of our group rides here recently, and he said he had the Onyx and he had the Brute, the Spark Cycles Brute, but he never showed up at the. I was looking forward to him coming because I was gonna see if I could, whatever bike he brought. I don't know which one he was gonna bring. I was going to see if he would let me take it for a spin. I'm sure he would have, and I would have liked to have tried that. They're both 72 volt. I used to use the dual motor a lot for hill climbing. Hill climbing probably the most, but I also used it for quick acceleration. Like in an intersection, for example, I would start out for a few seconds so I don't spin out with just the rear motor, and then I would kick in the other front motor, and away we go. It definitely has a lot. You can feel the power, right? When you kick in that, at least on the Grizzly, you could. When you put in that other motor, when you have both motors going, you could feel it. You could feel it. Feels like you're in overdrive. But the bike doesn't really go any faster if you're whether you have one motor or two. It just accelerates, gets you up to speed faster. But I think I only gained 1 or 2 miles per hour more on the. I think the Grizzly would go 34 if I remember right, 34 or 35 with one motor, the rear motor, and then if you put up the or turn on the front motor, you would get 35 to 37, a couple of miles per hour, maybe more. I think my speed went down just a hair after I changed tires because the original tires, which were crappy, on that bike were lighter, and then on the Grizzly, and then when I changed them to the Huntsman, those were a lot heavier tires, so I think my speed went down 1 or 2 miles per hour because of that. Has anyone here ever bought a battery from Powerful Lithium? They're expensive. Yeah, that's right. The wired has the that you can adjust that settings for how much torque and stuff. I do like that. Anyone here have the wired Predator? Are they being shipped yet? Yeah, I'm sure if I got a 72 volt, even just to try one, I think I'd probably say I want one. The only thing about the Onyx is, and a lot of people say the same thing as I'm going to say, is they're a little bit on the not so good looking side maybe. But I'll say one thing, I think that newer version, the brand new one that just came out, the 80 volt, might look just a little bit better now, I think. But still, if I had one thing that I didn't like about the Onyx, this is about trying one even, is I'm not impressed with the looks of it. But the performance wise, at least what they say, it can do and what it has is impressive. Hard to believe though, for what you get on that bike, that it's only $46.99. So it sounds like a deal almost too good to be true on that 80 volt. The 72 volt definitely would be more efficient. I would like that. I've tried I've not had a 36 volt, but I've had 48, 52, and 60. I keep going up. I've gone from 48 volt to 52 to 60. So there's 72. I don't think I need anything above 72, like the 80, 84. But I think I'd be happy with a 72 volt. I'd like to try one at least. Yeah, and I think about the police and about if they're going to crack down on anything. I think if you're riding solo yourself and you're not causing any problems and you're respectful and all, I don't think they're going to do anything to you. But if you're in a group and how it gets when people get in a group, all bets are off as to what people are going to do. I think people like to show off, right? When they're in a group, look at I can do, look at my bike can do. Watch this, and I think that's where you get into problems. And I also think the kids, this has been brought up about kids riding. I think they need to maybe do something on that. Like parents need to maybe not allow their kids, don't buy their kids a bike until they're a certain age. I guess 16, you can drive a car at 16. So I guess, if you can drive a car and be trusted in a car, then you probably can be trusted on a bike. I don't know. Like that's what they're going to say. But the crackdown stuff is so crazy sometimes, like they want to take this away. And And you look at the statistics, they'll say something about all these accidents, and then they'll say there was three injuries over the course of however long, right? And then they don't say in comparison to cars that have this many, the bikes, even if there's one, the bikes seem to be the one that stands out, just because it's a bike or an e-bike, and they seem to be more worried about what the bike, the bike accident than they are the car accident. Yeah, the powerful lithium. I just wondered if anybody's bought one. They're expensive batteries, and a lot of times, if you're going to change the voltage for the battery, then you got to go and get a new controller as well. So it can be really costly. I think if I was building a custom bike, which I'm not, but if I was, and putting together a bike, I think I would buy a battery from Powerful Lithium for the bike, for a custom built bike. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I gotta say, today I was out riding on the trail, not going fast, and the only safety thing I had on was a helmet. I didn't have gloves. I didn't have knee pads. I didn't have shoulder pads or elbow pads. I didn't have nothing. Just the helmet. Yeah, I'm now 60 and just retired, but um, people, a lot of people will say, they can't retire. They'll be bored, nothing to do. You just got to get into the e-bikes. There's a lot you can do on an e-bike. You can spend your whole day riding around or looking up. Like I'm always looking up information, trying to figure out, what's going on with e-bikes. I'm pretty passionate about it, and you can be if you get into this, it's so addicting, but in a good way, right? And that's what Keith and I were talking about today too. He said, just a couple of years ago, he didn't even own an e-bike. I gave him his first e-bike. He's had motorcycles. He has a motorcycle now, but not an e-bike. And I gave him his first e-bike, and that was my first e-bike that I got. It was the Rad Rover 4. And he was talking about it today. Now they have, between him and his wife, because she's now into it too, I think they have 5 e-bikes at the moment. And they also had scooters that they had issues with, but that's another story for another day. And I have one scooter as well. At the moment, I have 5 bikes and one scooter. And it's addicting. You get into it, and even though you've got a bike and you might be satisfied with it, it doesn't mean you're not going to keep looking. We're always going to keep looking. And, we don't necessarily have to buy, we're just window shopping. That's what I call it, window shopping, to see what's out there. And the second you pull the trigger, though, and buy a new bike that you're really excited about, then inevitably it always happens. I've had this happen countless times. After you do that, a month down the road, another bike comes out that you say, wow, I should have waited another month. Look at this one. I like this one. And that's going to go on and on. That's all part of the addiction of e-bikes. You're going to always see one that you like better than the one you just bought, or you think it's better anyway. But it's fun though. But it's expensive. It's an expensive hobby. It can be expensive, but I guess you have to kind of harness yourself from not getting too crazy. Yeah, the bike can almost, depending on how far your commutes are and stuff, the bike can completely basically replace your car or truck. But the only thing is, depending on the weather, right? You might be in a climate area where there's no way you can ride, in December or January or February, with lots of snow on the ground, ice, the whole bit, freezing cold temperatures. But if you're in like a state like California or Arizona or even here, you can kind of get away with it. if you don't mind riding in the rain here, lots of rain in the winter and fall, and also you can get some ice too once in a while. Black ice isn't good. Yeah, and I think the problem with the teenagers, because I think teenagers can be responsible, right? I don't think all of them are bad kids or anything, but I think what happens is you start to show off. Like I said earlier, I think when you get with your buddies, you want to see, you want to show what you can do, what your bike is capable of. Watch this. And I think that's what happens. But and I've seen this myself, where kids, when they're by themselves, completely different. They'll ride respectful and be just fine. But when they get with their friends, it changes. It's different. You can't stop at one. I know. I'm a potato chips. I'm a big fan of potato chips, and I like the salt. That's my thing there. I like the salt on the chips. The ones that are 50% less sodium or whatever. No, give me the ones with the lots of salt on it. And let's face it, about potato chips. Now that we're on potato chips for a minute, the bags today of potato chips. First of all, they're a rip-off, expensive, and you get a lot less chips, but you pay a lot more money. The bags used to be just stuffed with chips, lots of chips. Now a couple of handfuls and the bag's gone, so it's not hard to eat a bag of chips anymore. You can devour a bag of chips, easily. Yeah, but I do that thing where okay, I'm only going to eat a couple more and that's it. And you close the bag, but then a few minutes later you're back at it. The bag's open again. Away we go. 3 for now. Yeah. So some people have, like, especially influencers, right, on YouTube here, e-bike influencers. Some of them guys have 20, 30, 40 bikes, tons of bikes. I don't know if they ever have time to ride them or they just do the reviews and that's it. Like, I don't know how many of these guys that do reviews and stuff, like the big guys like Tail Happy and some of the other guys like that, or Area 13. I don't know how much actual bike riding they do besides for their YouTube channel. Do they actually ride all the time, or is that just for the YouTube videos? I don't know. But I ride mine. I ride mine all the time. I'm not just doing it for the YouTube video. I like to ride it. I'm not just going to ride it today and then that's it. I'm going to ride today, tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. Like, I don't just want to talk about it and show off a bike or anything. I want to ride it. That's the best part about e-bikes, is riding the e-bike. Below 40. I don't remember the coldest day I've ridden a bike, but it's been for sure well below zero. No, I hear you. Massachusetts gets snow and everything there. I haven't been there, but and about rain, I have never had an e-bike have any issues riding in the rain. I've ridden in pouring rain before, and I've never had any bike conk out on me because of the wet. No issues at all. Maybe I'm lucky, I don't know, or the bikes are definitely okay to ride in the rain. I mean, I'm not submerged in 3 feet of water or anything, but still, I'm riding through rain. It's splashing up on the bike, pouring down on it, and no issues. I've never had a problem with riding in the rain yet. paying for air. I have a goodie box here, let's see. So look at this, it's a little pump. Some of the bikes, they give you a little pump, which is handy. Check this out. So this is a, so the King Bull, I have two King Bull bikes. I have the Light Rider and the Hunter. Light Rider 2.0 and Hunter 2.0. And look, they come with two stickers. One of them is Class 2 and then the other one is Class 3 you can put on the bike. I didn't put the sticker on the bike yet anyway. And so if you're going to put a sticker on your bike, are you going to put the Class 2 or the Class 3? Because I'm going to put the Class 2. And the reason why I'm going to put Class 2 is because just in case they say, well, Class 3, you can't have a throttle. So if I put the Class 2 sticker on there, I'll just say, see, it's Class 2 and has a throttle. Hello to Captain Craig. I didn't see you. If you were on earlier, I see you now. Not comfortable riding there. You know what? It's not my favorite to ride in any adverse weather. And I think this year I'm going to cut back on riding in the rain this fall and winter. A little bit anyway. Now that I can kind of pick and choose. I also probably will do a little more green screen videos. I think I've said that in the past and didn't. I did some green screen, but I might end up doing a bit more green screen. And I still plan on doing live stream. And so, yeah, so this winter you might see me on here a little bit more this way or with a green screen. And a little bit less riding in the rain and all that crappy weather, but I'm still going to do some. I'm not going to completely stop riding in the rain, but I think I'm going to be a little more picky in picking my spots. Yeah, I don't even know what the ratings my bikes are, to be honest. And the scooter. I mean, I've ridden the scooter too. I need to do another video on the scooter. I haven't ridden the scooter, done a video at least on it lately. And but the scooter I've also ridden in the rain and had no issue. A little bit of light rain. It wasn't real pouring rain. But I don't know if any of you out there have a scooter, but the scooters are fun too. I like it even more than I thought I was going to, actually. I really like the scooter. Especially if you only want to go a little short distance, you know, the scooters are kind of good for that. If you're only going like a mile or so somewhere, if you're going to the store or something, you can hop on that thing and just, or say you're going to the mailbox, like our post office isn't that far away. You can head to the post office if you wanted. I think my camera's a little bit out of whack. The dog is laying right by this stand here, and he's wanting to move me around. Are you guys a big fan of cruise control? Does anyone out there use cruise control for their e-bikes? Because sometimes I've wondered if I want a cruise control, but when you think about it, a lot of times when I'm riding, there's not a good stretch that you're going that you could really use it a lot. For me, it's like stopping and going a lot. But if I had a good stretch of road to ride, especially if I was on the road, like say it was a 35 mile per hour zone and I was going to be on the road for a bit, right in there with the traffic, I think I would probably want it more. But for the most part, I'm just not on the road enough to, like, going enough distance to make it worthwhile to have a cruise control. But cruise control, there are times, it'll give your hand a rest, whether you're using a thumb throttle or a twist throttle. I'm actually going to do a poll question, I think, coming up. Next poll question is going to be about throttles and what kind you prefer. Do you like the half twist throttle, full twist throttle, or thumb throttle? I'm going to probably throw up a poll about that because it is a curious one. A lot of people seem to like thumb throttle, I noticed. I probably like full twist throttle. For me, actually, it depends on the bike, I guess. I don't mind thumb throttle on the pedal bikes because I'm pedaling it a lot anyway. I'm not really using the throttle a lot other than on takeoffs and stuff. So, but on the Graffiti X, definitely I like the full twist throttle. Yeah, that's the thing. You're constantly stopping and going or going around things or whatever. So it's hard for cruise control to have a good stretch to be able to use it. The scooter's fine, and you know the one I have doesn't go overly fast. Okay, so it has a top speed of 24, which is not real fast. But I thought at first when I first got it that I wouldn't be riding, even close to the 24. But you know what? After one ride, I guess, I was maxing it out. I'm maxing it out every time I get on that thing, unless I'm in an area where, you can't. If I'm on the road, though, you can max it out. If you're, going around people, you're getting to your destination and there's people around, then you can't go full, obviously. But yeah, I'm finding myself constantly going full throttle. So, and it's fun. I think I'd like it to go just a little bit faster, maybe 30 miles per hour. But 24 is good. And when you're standing there on the scooter, this is a pretty nice one I have. It's not the most expensive one in the world, but it's $1,000 scooter that I got for $550. It's the new NIU. It's the, let me see if I can remember, the KQi3 Max. If you look that one up, that's the one I have. Its regular price is $1,000. I think the battery's a 15 amp hour. It's a 48 volt. And I've forgotten what the motor size is now. But it's a pretty nice scooter. It doesn't have suspension though. That's the one thing it does not have. But the riding that I do with the scooter is on pavement. So it's okay. I mean, it's pretty smooth road, roads that I'm on. So it's not bad. I mean, it would be nicer with the suspension, but I wonder how much a good suspension is worth on a scooter. Because this one's $1,000 scooter and does not have any suspension. No, I mean, I would, if I turned on the cruise control, I'd probably go for like 5 seconds and then I would hit the brake and there goes the cruise control. You just haven't got a stretch that you can use it enough. But there was a time when I thought it would be good, but now that I think more about it, I don't think I would really have a need for cruise control. If I was going long distance, a good stretch, then maybe. Yeah, the scooter's impressive. It's better than I thought, and I'm liking it better than I thought I would. Yeah, I like the scooter. I plan on riding that more. There was a stretch there just a bit ago here where I was riding that a lot. I haven't ridden it probably a couple of weeks now, so I probably need to get out there and ride it. I haven't done a video with it in a long time, so I probably should. But I think this channel here, I think um, the primary, what we all want to see and talk about is e-bikes. I don't think the scooter was just brought in as another thing, for the channel. I mean, I bought the scooter to add to the channel, but the primary here on this channel is e-bikes. These are on the scooter, by the way. They're also self-healing tires. I don't know how wide those tires are, but they're pretty good. This scooter's above the average scooter that you see out there. It's a little better than that. You know, you'll see a lot of cheaper scooters out there. This one's a step up from that. This isn't the high end or anything, but it's not your entry level. It's a little higher than that. It's definitely not like a $300 or $400 scooter for sure. It's better than that. Yeah. You know, in the Graffiti X, I've never put anything in the tires, but flat out is what I would use. I have flat out here, and I think you feel a little more safer with something in your tires. I haven't had a flat tire, now that I think about it, in a long time. You know, some people use slime, but I like flat out. I don't know, I've never used slime, but I know flat out's good because I've used it. I'd like to get for the Graffiti X in the future, if it ever needs new tires. These tires may go for 1,000,000 miles, I don't know, but I'd like to get street tires, good street tires. You know, I think the electric bikes come with slime in the tires already, now that I think about it. I'm gonna look in my box again here. What else do I have in here? Do you ever get a new bike, but you don't even look at all the stuff once you get the bike out? You're not even looking at the extra accessories that it came with? That's kind of neat. Like, look at that. Would you ever trust to use a lock on your bike? I've never really ridden mine around and seen any cops ever on my scooter. Oh, this nice set of tools that came with one of the bikes. I just want tires that ride nice and smooth, and but I also want tires that aren't gonna wear out in no time. I want something that's gonna last. But I don't know, the tires that are on the Graffiti X are probably gonna last forever. Those are nice tires. I wanted to look up something really quick. What's the most you guys would be willing to pay for a set of tires? I bought a pair of tires, the Huntsman's, right? And I bought another pair of Huntsman's. I was going to try to put them on the Graffiti, but they won't fit. And I paid $230 for a pair of those Huntsman tires. And then I ended up just giving them to my friend Keith, because he's got the Grizzly, and that's what we put on the Grizzly. So he has an extra pair now, because I wasn't going to use them. I don't have a need for the Huntsman tires, so I just gave them to him a while ago. Let me see if I can type this really quick. Okay, let's see, what tires? I'm trying to look and see what tires I would prefer on my Graffiti X. There's some nice tires out there. Probably have to spend a lot. Oh, I think the Pirelli. I think I'd get the Pirelli tires. Oh, you know what I saw today? And I'd love to race them with my Graffiti X, but I wasn't in position. I wasn't on that Graffiti X day. But two bikes went by right uh, outside my front door here, basically. They were gas-powered scooters. And I would have loved to have just gone right by those guys on my electric quiet, my quiet Graffiti X. These guys were the bikes were a racket, right? They were really loud, gas-powered. And they were going like 10 miles an hour. The bikes didn't have a lot of oomph. And I bet you the Graffiti X would have just blew right by them. That would have been funny to see. Nice and quiet, just quietly go right by them. I was looking up today, how long will an e-bike motor last? How many miles? Geez, I saw some on the low end. I saw numbers as low as 2 to 3,000 miles, and I'm thinking, wow, really? You'd only get 2 or 3,000 miles out of a motor? And then I saw more high-end motors that said you'll get 15 to 20,000 miles. But I can't imagine can you imagine 2 or 3,000 miles and then your motor's no good? Seems kind of low to me. When I bought those tires, they've been sitting around here for a while, those Huntsmans. I bought them during the COVID era, and you know what? I don't know if you guys have been buying or around bikes since before COVID or whatever, but the back then when COVID was going on, we're talking like 4 or 5 years ago, or less than that, even going back 3 years when my channel started on here. The tires were hard to come by in tubes. You would go on looking, especially 20-inch. And the tubes would be sold out. You couldn't get them. They weren't in stock anywhere. I remember going to this motorcycle shop I was talking about earlier, the Super 73. I remember going over there to get tires before I got the Huntsman tires. I was going to get the pair, they're called Grizzly tires for the Super 73, but I was going to put them on my aerial rider Grizzly. And they only had one tire in stock. So I didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to put just one tire on. And so I ended up going online. On Amazon, I found a pair of the Huntsmans. That's why I paid $230 for the pair, $115 each. And they were hard to find. It was hard to find tires, especially 20-inch and tubes. I don't know now. I think they're probably easier to get now, but they were so limited in stock, everybody, or out of stock, that it was tough. I think, COVID threw, among a lot of things, it threw the bike supply or accessories out of whack. All right, let's see. What else is going on? I'll look through my notes here. So this is Sunday the 13th. So the next time I do a live stream will be a week from today on July the 20th. It'll be the same time. I think this, for now anyway, it's probably it might switch at some point. I may alter the times of this, but we'll see. And like I say, there is a big announcement coming. It'll probably be, the announcement will probably be in the form of a video where I announce it, but changes coming. And So I will be back on. I'm not going off quite yet, but I just want to. The 20th of July, we'll stick with the 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Local Pacific time here. Seems to be pretty good time, and maybe we'll have some new interesting news to talk about with regard to e-bikes. Maybe a new law will come out in the next week that we're going to scrap all class levels and go with speed limits. That would be good. So I'm looking at this E-Straps Lightning bike. $4,300. So let's see here. It comes with a 10 amp charger. If you want a 15 amp charger, it's an extra $150. The street package, so the off-road package is $4,300. Street package is $150 more. So I'm going to click on that. I would prefer the street package. I want street tires or dual sport. No, let's stay with the street tires. 10,800 watt. Oh, this is pretty good. The battery on this bike, you got to check this bike out. 72 volt, 75 amp hour battery, 5,400 watt hours. It's got regen braking, 10 amp charger. Range, it says 130 miles. Oh my goodness. I don't know. It's a 72 amp battery though, but I don't think you're going to get that much. Top speed, 65 miles per hour. So in mode 1, it goes 15 to 25, mode 2, 30 to 45, mode 3, 45 to 65. I'm going to leave this link, or put this link in here. Check that out. That's pretty cool. If you're into that style of bike, this looks pretty nice for the price. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I'm an Android. The bike weighs 150 pounds, rider weight limit 330, seat height 32 inches. Accommodates rider 5'5" to 6'2". Oh, this bike is pretty impressive. I like it. $4,300. And the 10 amp charger, you can up it to 15 amp for an extra $150. Yeah, I like that bike. That's really impressive. And for $4,300, boy, that could give the Onyx a run for its money. I don't know. That might be a pretty nice one there. It probably does. I don't think it has pedals. I forgot to look. Does it have pedals? No, I don't think it has pedals. It looks like pegs. Yeah, I like that one. That one looks good. The Lightning one. They all look pretty good, but I think my choice would be that Lightning one. I didn't look at the specs of the others. I just went by looks first, and I like that one. Yeah, Vardan always knows he finds those good bikes. Like that's a hidden gem. I never seen or heard of that one before. Okay, yeah. Like I say, I think this live show is gonna be changing. It might even change days. I don't know in time, but not yet. But down the road, it's gonna change a bit. And I don't know if I'll keep this Sunday or it'll be a different day. We'll see. I might do a poll and ask what people like, what would people prefer? Like if you're tuning in, what's the best time that people have? What day works best for most people? It's kind of cool that we can meet up, and talk e-bikes. I really like doing this, and you guys like hanging out. Some of the same people are back each week, which is really cool. That means it's working, and so no, I look at today. I took out my King Bull Light Rider 2.0, and it's under $1,000 right now, and I really like that bike. It doesn't go. It's not a speedster, but for the trail riding today, it was awesome, and it's really impressive. And I was boasting about it. I did the video, which will come out soon here. I was boasting about that bike. I just couldn't help it. I thought, wow, this thing is nice. And Keith was riding his electric 3.0, and he had to really work more on his bike. I think it's because that bike only has a 500-watt motor. This one has a 750-watt motor, and I think that makes a difference. I think the 750-watt motor, I would rather have that than 500-watt. But you got a good deal, Chuck, on the Filotos that you're getting. You're not going to find dual motor like that for that kind of price. Saturday night, the only thing about Saturday night for me is not now, but in the winter, I'm a hockey fan. So, yeah, I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. So, Saturday night would have to be later in the evening. But I'm a hockey guy. That's the Canadian part of me. I think we're born hockey nuts, or hockey junkie. That would be a good word. E-bikes and hockey. What can I say? And a little bit of baseball. I like the Blue Jays too. Well, I think you're going to like it. Anybody that's never ridden an e-bike before and then gets on one, they're amazing. Yeah, and I think people who ride pedal bikes, eventually kind of get discouraged because they can't, go very far without getting tired, and you're just beat, you can't, one more hill up ahead, I just can't do it, kind of thing. Get an e-bike. It's way different. E-bike is so much different. You're gonna love it if you've never tried one. I remember the first time I got on mine. I had the Rad Rover 4 as my first e-bike. I bought it online. I didn't get the test ride or anything. I just bought it, and the first ride was amazing to me. It I felt like Superman. I felt like I was, all of a sudden I'm taking steroids or something. I had this power. It was awesome, and it still is today. And now I've got bikes, though, that I do both. I pedal or I throttle. Today I pedaled all the ride on the trail. And when I'm out on my Graffiti X, for example, it's not a pedal bike, I throttle. So people think that all I do is throttle, but no, I pedal. It depends on the bike I'm riding and where I'm riding. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the throttle. If you want to throttle, go for it. If you want to pedal, do that too. I like a bike that has a throttle so that I have a choice. If I want to pedal, I'll pedal. But like I say, the Graffiti X, when I bought that bike, I wasn't buying that for the pedal. I knew that was going to be a throttle only bike for me. I would definitely not pay that kind of money to just, for a pedal bike. It would have to be something unbelievable. Something else I'm thinking about is, I think I might have brought this up earlier, but torque sensor. I've only ridden one bike, I think, that has torque sensor. They all seem to have cadence that I'm on. And I'm wondering if a torque sensor might be a good way to go for riding on trails, or just in general if you're pedaling, because the cadence sensor, like for example on this bike I rode today, the King Bull Hunter or King Bull Light Rider, it has that on, that run on for about 3 seconds. It continues on the motor after you stop pedaling. And I'm wondering, like the torque sensor, I don't think will do that, right? It's more like kind of more what you would say maybe in real time. And so I'm wondering if that might be a more smoother pedaling ride, And the only time I rode a bike with a torque sensor was a rental bike. That was terrible. I did not like it. I like the option like a lot of bikes are doing now, Harry. They're giving you that 50-50 where you can switch over if you want to do cadence sensor or torque. I like that idea because then you can get a true feel for which one you want to ride with. And for me today, and this has happened before too, sometimes when you're on a pedal bike and I'll call it a pedal bike because the one I'm pedaling, not the throttle. Sometimes you have to kind of get your speed right with whoever you're riding with. If you're riding with somebody, if you're by yourself, it doesn't matter. But like for example, today Keith and I'm trying to coordinate my speed to be equal to his, right? So I don't want to go too fast to get ahead of him. Pedal assist 3 is too much. Pedal assist 1's not enough. And so I told him, today to try to keep it at 14 and a half miles an hour or so, in the 14 to 15, because that's where my pedal assist 2 seems to be the sweet spot. And so you kind of coordinate with your person you're riding with, and it kind of makes for a nice ride that way too. You're not, one guy isn't getting away from the other. But I gotta say today, Keith had his electric XP3. He a couple of times took off on me there, and I think he said at one point his bike he had it up to 31 miles an hour, and that was the electric XP 3.0. He was pedaling pretty hard, I think, and he got it up over 30 miles an hour, which was pretty impressive. You know what? I didn't see any scooters today on the trail, but I guess scooters are allowed on trails. I don't even know. And but I did see a couple of recumbents on the trail. Those things are wide, right? They take up a pretty good amount of space. Let me click this here. What's going on? I gotta take a sip of my last coffee. I've got a bike here, the King Bull Hunter 2.0, that gets up to 27, just over 27 miles per hour, right? Like 27.1 or 2 or something like that. And then it just cuts off. You can feel it. I think it has more to give, right? But you can feel it stop right there. But I don't know if that can be unlocked in any way to go a little bit faster, or if that's it. But the thing is with that one, it's supposed to only go to 20 with throttle, and then 27 or 28 is supposed to be a class 3 with pedal assist, right? But I find is if you change the pedal assist to 5, the max, and you throttle, it'll go the same speed as the pedaling. So it'll go 27.1 or whatever, and then cuts off. Somebody told me, it made a comment in one of the videos there saying that bike will go unlocked 35 miles an hour or something. I don't think that bike's going to go 35, but it might go a little bit more, like 30, I'm thinking. If there's a way to unlock that. I haven't looked at that, or I don't know if anybody knows anything about unlocking the King Bull Hunter 2.0. But I think there's a little bit more to give, because I can feel it pulling back. When it gets up to that speed, you can feel it. holding back, like it's governed, to that speed and will not let you go past that. Even on the downhill, it seems to kind of cut it off there. But another good bike. Um, these bikes are really good for hill climbing. I'm finding the King Bull. They are really good hill climbers. I'm impressed. Yeah, I think you're right. I think these motors can go faster, but they have them limited to certain speeds, which is fine. I mean, the bike, 28 really is fast enough, especially if you're mostly riding on trails. You're not going to get up to that kind of speed anyway. At least I don't. So it's all good. I haven't done a complete run the battery dry or dead, but the Graffiti X, I'm pretty sure can go 40 miles. And that's riding not crazy though. That's riding probably in the 25 miles per hour or a little bit more. I don't know if you're riding full throttle, I don't know what you're going to get. But the reason why I think it's going to be 40 or around there is because we did a ride into Portland. Keith and I did a ride a few weeks back into Portland and rode around in the city and then came back here. And then I did a little bit after that. After he went home, I rode a little bit more. And so I was around 30 miles and still had, I think it said 40% battery left. I don't know what the voltage was now, but it was around, or the voltage was around like with 40% left. I can't remember what the voltage number was. But so that tells me that you could probably get at least another 10 miles riding like that. We were riding conservatively though to try to see how far we could go. And so if you keep it around 25 miles an hour, which might not be hard to do on the Graffiti X, I think you're going to be able to get 40 miles. I'm pretty sure. If you ride it harder than that, uh, you might only get 25 maybe if you're riding full tilt. But I bet you, I'm pretty sure you can get 40 because I did, like I say, just 30 or so and still had a decent amount of battery left. But you got to know that when that starts to drop, especially when a battery gets below, it seems to me like if you're in the percentage, if it goes below 80, it starts to drop off pretty quick. The first 20 takes a while to go down, but once it gets down to 80, it seems to drop off quick, especially if it gets down to 60. Then it drops off even faster. But 80 to 60, it goes more than, the 100 to 80. Then it even drops off faster once you get to 60 and start going below that. That's what I find. I don't remember what the torque is on the Graffiti X. But I don't know, the Graffiti X I have is the first batch one, and it's got that slower takeoff. So that's not good. And I never changed any of the settings of that. You have to take a run at a hill. If you get a little run going about 10 or 15 miles an hour, you're going to be fine. But if you're at a dead stop, it's not that great. On a dead stop on a steep hill, because I've tried it. The nicest thing about riding when you're riding an e-bike, the feeling you get when you're in a bike lane and there's a million cars lined up and you're able to go right by every one of them. That's a great feeling. You guys have probably had that before. Anything over, like most bikes are at the most like 80. So if you get anything up above 80 torque newton meters, like especially over 100, that's pretty good. That's impressive. The dog is snoring. I think she's getting louder by the minute. That's a pug for you. We have a male and female pug here, brother and sister. Yeah, I love riding in the bike lane and going by all those cars waiting at a light or waiting for whatever. Usually it's a light to change. And you can go right on by them all. It's the greatest feeling in the world. It's not the greatest feeling in the world. I'm exaggerating a bit, but it's a really good feeling. We're quickly approaching 2 hours already, almost, on this stream. So hopefully you guys are already subscribers to the channel and already hit the like button. That's awesome. Tomorrow I'm probably going to put up one of the trail ride videos. There's a couple of trails we went on recently here, and they haven't been seen yet. Those are always cool to ride. It's one of my favorite rides is the trail. One of the trails, both these trails were really good that we just went on, and you can't beat a good trail to ride on if you can find them. Sometimes they're hard to find trails, right? If you're in some areas, you're in there and there's nothing around, nothing even, close by. They're all a million miles away. But other people get lucky. I always get jealous. I'm looking online, I'm seeing other people's videos and they're in awesome, they have some awesome trails, I'm thinking, I need more of those around me. Yeah, we just did we didn't ride the whole thing. I didn't charge my battery up all the way, so I didn't have full battery. We rode part of the banks to Vernonia. That's my favorite trail so far, I think, of all the trails I've ridden. I really like that trail. It's, you're shaded nicely, and, it was kind of busy when we were there, but Portland to Vancouver is not very far. It's just across the water there. I don't know how many miles it is. It's not that far though. But I'm right here where I am now. I'm about 11 or 12 miles south of Portland, where I'm at. All right. We rode in, Keith and I, like I say, we rode into Portland and rode around downtown there. And it was a Sunday morning. It's the only time I'd really want to ride around there. And we were able to ride around there and then come back home. And it was just under 30 miles that we rode. And like I say, I still had a decent amount of battery left. So I think that Graffiti X would probably get 40 miles. But a lot less traffic on the road. We went early in the morning on a Sunday morning, just at daybreak. And it was like, daybreak now is like 5, well, it's getting a little bit worse now, I guess. We passed the 21st of June, but it was like 5:30 in the morning. You could go 6 o'clock. That's crazy. Coincidence or what? All right, I'm going to wrap up this video. It's been great to see all you guys again. A lot of guys, same ones that come in all the time. That's awesome. Thank you for the support. And we'll do it again next week, same time. So Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. What's that in Hawaii? Like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? And 4 o'clock my time here. Yeah, you guys have a great week and come back with some new e-bike stories. If you find out any information on bikes or something new that you found bike-wise, let us know. It's awesome to have you guys in this community. And so we'll keep it going. Oh, 1 p.m. Okay, gotcha. So we'll see you guys next time. And remember, be safe, everyone. and keep your wheels on the road. See you later.